Hello and welcome. Today I wanted to share with you this adorable card that I created using the limited edition card kit by Simon Says for the month of February. The stamp set is called The Sweetest, and even though the card kit is already sold out, you could purchase it individually. But anyway, let's get started. I decided to go with this adorable fox couple, and I colored them with my Spectrum Noir markers. So these are alcohol based, and I had stamped the image onto a Bristol smooth paper using my Versamark ink. I'm not sure if this is the best one to use when you're doing alcohol markers, but it seems to be working just fine. I am using just a couple of different shades, and again, I am not an expert at coloring, but I always try to do my best. Yes, I do not color this fast. I super sped up this video so that way I could spare you some of the time, but I still wanted to show you kind of what the process or how I colored these images. Now these are a pretty good size. The stamp set is an 8 by 6, and so the stamp sets are pretty cool. It has a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4 images, I believe, and then a couple of little hedgehogs. So they're very adorable and tons of cute sentiments that are perfect to use for Valentine's, but also for other times. And even if the images, you can use them for other things like birthdays or anniversaries or anything like that. So anyway, I am coloring these foxes, and I was trying to think of a color that is not as brown but a little bit reddish. So I picked these golden brown colors from my Spectrum Noir markers, and I'm using basically 3. So I'm using a light, a medium, and a darker shade to, just kind of use it and spread out sporadically on the different parts of the foxes. So obviously the inside or the front of the foxes and their bellies, I made them a little bit lighter. And then another thing that I use here is to kind of like when you're trying to mix colors, I sometimes scribble it onto a ink pad or something that you can put it on, so that way you can pick it up with your lighter color, and so your shading doesn't look as dark. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can see here what I was doing, trying to kind of mix those colors. You can use a tip to tip technique as well, but sometimes I figure that if I have it already on a surface, it's easier for me to pick it up from there. So I was using this little pad that I made with that, and I usually use it for ink smudging techniques anyway. But let's get back to the foxes. I thought this image was adorable and was perfect. And as I was coloring, I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do with the card, but when I was almost finished with it, I kind of came up with the idea of what to do with it. I've been loving doing some ink blending, or trying to get a little bit better with that using my Distress Oxide inks, and right now I am just in love with these 2 colors. Wilted Violet and Worn Lipstick are my 2 favorite right now to use for my Valentine's cards. So most of the cards that I've been creating, I've been using those when I do ink blending. I do have a video that shows the card kit, all the contents, and then some of the cards and projects that I created using them, including this one. But I decided to film this one and make a full video just for this card, so that way I could show you what I did. It was one of my favorites, so maybe that's why. But anyway, I am using here some of the CR colors to color the bow onto the fox, the little girl, and I was just trying to make it pink, not to put too much red. And the heart that the other fox is holding, I just decided to use the red to kind of make it stand out. So yeah, there my finger tapping. So this is where I decided to do the ink blending, and I stamped the image again onto a piece of a sticky notepad. It only has a little bit of sticky, but I used some repositionable tape to put around it so that way it could stay in place. And I am going to be using these 2 ink pads, like I said, Worn Lipstick and Wilted Violet. So as I was ink blending, I wanted to kind of make it like there was a focus or a spot, sort of a spotlight onto the foxes. But when I was doing it, the way that I started inking, it kind of seemed like a heart. So then I decided that it would look really cute. So I started making that spotlight look like a heart. And then I started blending some of the Wilted Violet onto the outside. Here I'm doing some touch-ups on the repositionable tape that I had not done, very good in the first place. So making sure that everything stays there, because I don't want my coloring to get ruined. So anyway, I started ink blending all around, and I have found that when you're using the Bristol Smooth paper, it just blends so easily, especially when you're using the Distress Oxide inks. I do have some of the regular Distress inks. They're the mini cubes though, but I think that these ones blend a lot nicer. My only blending instruments that I have are these little blending tools, and then sometimes I do have these little brushes that I bought, but I haven't really used them much, so I have to practice with those a little more. But anyway, so here is, I'm just trying to emphasize that heart spotlight a little bit more, and then going back again with the Wilted Violet to kind of blend it all around to mix the colors and make sure that everything's good. Once I had that set, I just cleaned up my surface a little bit, and then I thought about doing some water splatter onto the image. I love when you do ink blending and you just take everything off, you just do the reveal. It looks so adorable. But anyway, I just doing the little touch-ups, and I pulled out my water, and I have some water that's mixed with some of the white water pearls, the pearls white powder, Perfect Pearls, I believe it's called. So I mixed a little bit of it, and I just used my mister to mist it, and then I took the little thing off so that way I could just splatter some of the water onto it and make bigger drops. And I'm just dabbing it off with a paper towel, and I'm just pretty much done there. I cut this out with my favorite frame die, using the Averill wonky stitch die, and I am ready to go. Now for my sentiment, I grabbed one of the sentiments that was included on the card kit on that smaller set that is called Love Notes, and this one just says, "My heart is yours." Kind of goes with it because the fox is giving the other fox a heart, so I thought it just went with it. And then I used my Ranger gold embossing powder to heat emboss it, and it just just kind of went with it, kind of going with the color of the foxes without even thinking, right? Really, but I wanted it to stay a little bit softer rather than stamping it in black. And I just like using my embossing powder whenever I can. So to finish it off, I just grabbed a little bit of this stamp that has little hearts, and these are open hearts that are just outline hearts, and I put some around, and then some of the solid hearts around it, and then I did that with the Festive Berries Distress Oxide ink, and then just kind of spread it around the card. Now I mounted that panel onto a card base that I cut that standard 8-2 size, and I'm using my favorite glue right now, which is the Simon Says Tacky Glue, to glue it onto my card base. So once I had that in place, I usually just eyeball it to kind of center it and press down so I can make sure that everything is secured. And then I was ready to work on the inside of my card. So for the inside of my card, I decided to go with a sentiment that said Happy Valentine's Day. But first, I stamped these the foxes again, the fox images, using some Versamark ink to just leave them there. I like using this technique, or stamping like this. I don't know, it just gives it a subtle look, and I'm not sure if this has a name, but I think I'm gonna call it ghost inking. I'm not sure, but I just love when you have like an image that's like, it's basically maybe like a watermark. I then stamped the Happy Valentine's Day sentiment inside using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink onto the center of the card, and then that would be considering my card all done. I think it was a pretty cool card to make using all of these different techniques. The ink blending, I'm absolutely in love, and then these two colors for the color combo. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!